Hi everyone, I'm Fred Abouad, Director of the Comparison Shopping Program at Google. It's great to be here with you all again, and thanks for making time to join us. And thanks for your time and your continued efforts in the Comparison Shopping Program. It's so exciting to see the success that you're having for your own business and your merchants. We know that it's not always easy. The economic environment is still uncertain, and some of you have been facing real challenges. Now we're heading into peak, when everything is on the line for the retail sector. We don't have easy answers, but we do have fantastic content to share, and which I hope you will find enjoyable. First, Pedro will share new findings, which are exclusive to Google, about how retail consumers behave and how retailers can influence them, without compromising on price. This is based on extensive and unique research with thousands of consumers. I expect that you'll find it quite thought-provoking. Second, Caroline will share insights and best practices on peak, this busy shopping time of the year in Q4. This section aims to help you with final preparations for the busy weeks ahead. Third, Ulysses will dive into Performance Max. By now, I'm sure you're very familiar with our flagship ad campaign format, which is powered by Google's AI. The product has evolved significantly, and we've seen its potential to make your jobs easier, while delivering better results for your clients. Uli will cover feature updates and tips for success. Of course, that's not all. We're saving the best for last. It's when we turn the spotlight back on you. I've saved presenting this part of the agenda for myself. I join you again to announce the winners of this year's CSS Spotlight Awards. When we launched the Spotlight Awards last year, we asked premium partner CSSs to share stories about their successes with the merchants, their technical products, and with their own businesses. We weren't sure what to expect, and the results were fantastic. But this year, we've been overwhelmed by the number and quality of entries. I can't wait to share the results with you. We'll come back to that in a while, but for now, I'm pleased to hand you over to our presenters for today. I hope you enjoy it.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this session on decoding decisions for retail. You will find it really interesting, I hope. My name is Pablo Perez. I'm a marketing research manager at Google. I have been doing retail research for many years. It's really my passion to be researching retail and retailing and retailers and brands. I really love this topic. And I'm going to share a very special piece of research that I have very recently conducted, across EMEA markets, also in the US and also in APAC markets. A little bit of refresher in the beginning so everyone can be up to speed. Then we'll focus on new findings, and finally some closing thoughts so you can have some ideas, especially that now you are coming into this peak season that you want to really perform and you have a lot of expectations on that. On the refresher, decoding decisions is how we are thinking of at Google about consumer decision making. Between the trigger, which is when somebody gets into the market, and the purchase, there's something which we call the messy middle, which is this swirl drawing that you're seeing on the screen, because consumer reality is super chaotic. Of course, we have the funnel. The funnel is a really good strategic framework, but it doesn't really reflect the complexity of consumer behavior. Consumers live in a sea of exposure. We chat to friends, we see people using brands, we get exposed to advertising, we browse on the internet, and at a point of time, there is a trigger, something that brings us into the market. It can be external, it can be internal, but at the point of time, we are in the market. And between the trigger and the purchase, there is the messy middle. In the messy middle, we did a lot of hours of exploration about how consumers are looking for. And there are two different mindsets in the messy middle. Consumers are either exploring, which means they are expanding their portfolio of brands and products, or they are evaluating, which means they are narrowing down into a final option. They can go through this exploration and evaluation circles in iteration, because sometimes maybe you're close to a purchase, but you decide you see something that is really interesting and you go back to exploration. You could see an advertisement, so you go back and forth. At the point of time, people purchase and then you enjoy the product, which is the experience. This is how we're thinking at Google of consumer decision making today. We have done a lot of experiments, and most of them revolve around this concept, which is people have, when entering the messy middle, they have a brand set in mind. They have some favorite brands or some good predisposition for such brands. They also have a set of challenger brands that they can switch to. And most of our research is about, how and why people shift their preference from their predetermined idea to a new idea, as when they are exploring in the messy middle. We have done this research in a lot of countries for many, many years. What you're seeing today is an evolution of that. And I'm going to be presenting mostly United Kingdom data, but this is about how people make decisions and how the mind works. So it really is useful for every single country. And we have seen these conclusions being replicated country after country. Just as a closing thought on this intro session, we have a full book, about all these ideas about decoding decisions and the messy middle. You can download it. It's in Think with Google. It's a very nice reading. I think even you can print it out and read carefully because there's a lot of good thought leadership in that paper. What we did so far was to research what people buy online. But today, I'm going to be talking to you about where they want to buy things from and the combination of both of them. Because in the end, the decision is not only about the what, it's also about the where and which thing is more important for consumers under which conditions and how these things play together. Okay, so this is the core of the research. We have done it through shopping simulations, 120,000 shopping simulations across a variety of countries. And bear in mind, this is not a survey. This is observational research. We have given tasks to consumers and we have seen what they did and later use data science to infer the underlying reason for the behavior. Because, when you ask people, you will get a response, but it's going to be a post-rationalization response. This is like really, really good research, just looking at the behaviors of people, which is the true reality of what they do. We wanted to understand the power of 6 specific elements of behavioral science, because behavioral science is really embedded into the model and it helps, consumers when they are going through the messy middle. We use 3 behavioral biases that help consumer decision-making on the product, which is social proof, which is, when we see people making a decision or giving us an opinion, we tend to give that some credibility. In the world of online, that is very often conducted, via star ratings. We also use authority bias, which means in complex decisions, we are very happy to defer, our opinion or to defer that decision into somebody who we consider has authority. It can be an award, a prize, or somebody who we consider expert on the category. Category heuristics, it's about all the possible features that, a product could have. Imagine a phone, a telephone, a smartphone has so many features, or a computer has so many features, but which are the most important ones that they convey an overall sense of quality. About the where, we tested the power of free because the word of free, the word free makes people shift, to that kind of irrational behavior. We also tested delivery friction, which is about how people, could face, some uncertainties or barriers, on the delivery process. And we also incorporated price and promotion because it's impossible to do this kind of test without giving consumers some context on price and promotion because it's an integral part of our business model, right? If we are doing retailing. So these things, they are playing out. This is a screenshot from people looking for the best laptop. And if you think of it, all this behavioral science is behind. You will see the social proof. You will see the price and the promotion. You will see, the authority bias. You will see the power of free. All these things, they are playing around about how we show up to our clients when they are in the messy middle, doing search or browsing on the internet. It's really important to get this right. And they are really present in today's consumer. So what we did in the experiment was ask consumers which is your favorite product for a particular category and your favorite retailer and your second favorite product and your second favorite retailer, and design some kind of, random variations on that in terms of, different star ratings, different awards, different, free products, different pricing. And we were giving them this kind of a random exposition to pairs of choices and seeing why consumers were selecting one or the other, doing that a lot of times, and through data science, getting to conclusions. Okay, let's go to the new findings then. So the first experiment we did was presenting exactly the same proposition to the consumer, but before they told me, I love brand A and retailer A, I like a little bit as a second option, retailer B and option B as a brand. What happens if we put them one next to another, exactly with the same star ratings, price, everything exactly the same? I just asked the consumer which is your favorite one. Now you have an option. What happens just by giving consumers the option? And just by giving consumers the option, people change their minds. Because in the end, people are more fickle than what you could imagine. Around 25% of the people change their mind regarding product. They just told me, I want product A I saw product B, okay, I changed my mind just by the power of presence. But that's very high, right? 1/4 of the people, just changing their mind on that. But on retailers, it's much, much higher. Around half of the consumers change their mind on the retailer just because they saw a second option available. This is just the power of showing up. It's really important to be present in the messy middle because people really change their minds. They give it a go. They will go and explore and click on that advertisement and go through that and see what you have. But what happens if on top of that, we give some advantages in terms of behavioral science? We give higher star ratings, better authority bias. When we give advantage on behavioral science principles, around half of the people change their mind on product brands, and almost 84% of the people change their mind on retailer brands. You see the picture totally change. I had a prior preference for a product and a retailer, and just by being present and giving consumer the right behavioral science hints, we see that half of the people change their mind on product and almost everyone changed their mind in terms of retailer choice. Really, really, really volatile and a lot of opportunities, a lot of risk, right, for all of you, right? If you do it right, you have a lot of win. We also created some fictional retailers and fictional products, to avoid all this idea of brand preconceptions, okay? Because in the end, a second option is probably, a brand that has been there for many years and people have some positive feelings towards that. Let's go to the extreme and do a stress test and see how consumers react to totally out of the blue brands and retailers. We see that, just by the power of showing up, in this case, in search, people shift to the invented product brands a little bit, 10%, because in the end, it's an unknown product, it's a little bit out of the blue. But you will see that invented retailer brands, which means totally new retailers to the market, you could think of it of you entering a new market, for example, around 40% of consumers are changing their mind. Just giving it a go, see what that new retailer has to offer. If we get the advantage of behavioral science, we see around 1/3 of the people changing their mind on product and a lot of volatility, again, a lot of opportunity on the invented retailer brands. I never heard of this retailer, but it looks good. It has a good price. It has good star ratings. It's offering the product that I really like. I'll give it a go. And I go at least give it a go and explore what they have for offering. We can start building kind of the pie. We saw, are people changing more their mind on product or on brand? But let's build the pie. This is imagine, like if people had to give 100 score to the best product and retailer combination they could imagine, which is the weight of each of the elements. The product brand is 19%. It's really, really important. It's one of the most important elements. The social proof, which is tested in this case by the star ratings, is 16%. So it's really important that it's the right product and people think it's a very good product. If it's following the category heuristics, like really communicating those things that matter to consumers in the category, it's 8%. And then the authority bias is 70% of the decision making. That is on the what. The product itself is around half of it. Let's continue on the channel, the where. Power of free, getting something from the retailer is 7%. Price and discount is 25%. It's the single most important element, but it's just 25%, which means that 75% it is not about price and discount, it's about the rest. Then we have the retailer brand, which is 8%. And finally, we have the delivery friction, 9%. Very interesting. You see, it's half-half. Both the product, the what, and the channel, the where, they have a really important role to play. But they play it a little bit different, okay? Consumers, they are more attached to product brand than to retailer brand, which is this 19 versus this 8%. It is true that price is important, but it's not the only thing. There are a lot of elements, and we could think that, different actors play different roles in the retailing environment. I may be a brand, I may be, a CSS, I may be a manufacturer or a retailer. And, this is not, you could say, this is not my responsibility. No. Getting the best consumer experience, it's everyone's responsibility. Also us, at Google as a platform for communicating with customers. It's really important that no matter where you're operating on the environment, that you provide the right product for the right consumer at the right price and with the right communication using these behavioral biases, because we all have to win out of that, of making the consumer happier, okay? We all have a lot of agency on the topic. We saw that price was 25%, so it means 3/4 of the decision-making is not due to price. We tested a 10% discount versus using the top 2 behavioral biases in each of the different categories. And we presented those two options. What do you prefer? Your preferred product at 10% discount, or this product at the full price, but with these behavioral biases, like, for example, higher star ratings, or a little bit of a free goodie, or, some better award. And actually, it's split decision. Around half of the people choose the product with the behavioral biases, product plus retailer, of course, or around half of them, they choose the product with the discount. And it's really interesting because everything related to behavioral bias is just communication, right? You have those things, you can communicate on them, improve how you're doing your ad copy, improve how you're doing also your advertisement on the internet, all these things. If you do it right, that doesn't cost you margin, right? You're already doing those things. But the 10% discount, that really goes into your bottom line, no? So this kind of, the blue costs you money, the green is costing not you money, right? So it's really important that you can use communication, and because there's much more into consumer decision making than just price. A common question I have, when talking about this, is what happens with the D2C channels, no? Those brands that they decide to sell direct to consumers. And what we have found out, because we also had this kind of brands, like selling direct, brands acting as retailers, and we saw that they don't have any different treatment from consumers in terms of being in the messy middle. Of course, later, the customer experience, we know that, retailing, it's much more than, just getting people to click on advertisement, right? You have to get the product to people's houses and these things, right? It's more complex. But in terms of, let's say in the funnel concept, like mid-funnel or lower funnel, D2C is behaving very, very similar to any other retailer. And you would see that the range of results that we are getting, just for example, here you see for Showing Up, in a second choice retailer is very good, which is an alternative retailer. It's very similar to a direct to consumer. There's nothing special in terms of decision making on direct to consumer, okay? Which I think it's a good thing to take away, right? That, there is no mental barrier from consumers of buying directly, from manufacturers. Okay, we are on our last section, recap. Here I'm going to give you some ideas, especially now that the peak season is coming. The first one is ensure presence. We have seen that here you see the data for the UK, that consumers are almost twice more volatile in the retailer decision-making than on the product decision-making. It's important for products to be in the messy middle, but it's even more important for retailers. A lot of opportunity if you are able to be present, when people are navigating, their consumer decision-making. The second one is that positioning using behavioral science can balance aggressive pricing. Using just two behavioral science principles can be as effective as giving a 10% discount. Because, as I said before, 75% of the consumer decision-making is not driven by price or promotions. And finally, product is power. We saw that the importance of the brand of a product is more than 2 times more important than the brand of the retailer. Of course, people have, preferred retailers, but when they are exploring the messy middle, they can change their mind. But they are much likely to do so on retailers than on product brands. People have more attachment to products than on retailers, because after all, the product is what they want, and the channel is the way of getting, right? The what is always more important than the how, which again, is more opportunity, also more risk. So retailers, your partners in retailing, they face a high risk of consumer switching, which means it's easier to win, also, and to get opportunities to get market share, but also means, that you have to be really smart on how you conduct your marketing. It's really important that we surface the right product for every customer, because that is what dominates. People want the product, right? And you have to partner with the brands also on trade marketing, because they have the know-how about which is driving the category, decision making, and we can partner with them to surface, those category heuristic, those awards, those things that really matter for consumers. You have to show up, and because the messy middle is so complex, we think, that doing that through AI is really the way to go, because it helps a lot, to find that kind of complex patterns in the consumers. And finally, I recommend that you use behavioral science principles, to drive market share, use them responsibly, but, see how you can use better communication for better advertising. And with this, I close. I hope you found this interesting. I wish you, the best of success in this peak season, and hope you enjoy the rest of the program today.
Hello, my name is Caroline and I am a CSS Partner Development Manager in the Performance X team, your dedicated shopping ads team. We know how critical peak is for you and your merchants. So today, we want to help you getting ready for this peak season by sharing some insights, tools and tips to help you navigate the upcoming weeks and making sure you know how we, as your CSS Shopping Ads team, can support you and your merchants in this very special time of the year. So let's start by diving into the learnings of 2022. 2022 shoppers indicated to focus on key sales dates during the peak season. Black Friday, Singles Day and Cyber Monday still represents concentrated sales days. However, we also saw a shift in demand towards the post-Christmas period, as 49% customers agree that there are better deals available after the holiday season. And as interest in deals and discounts starts earlier and finishes later, we can clearly see that the customer demand is spread broadly across the season. So let's have a closer look at the trends. Indeed, queries for Black Friday, Cyber Monday started early October, so we can say that the peak season has already started. Last year, we also saw a big increase in demand during the week leading to Cyber Week, and some important post-peak echo with the Black Friday day being slightly below 2020. This shows the importance of capturing the demand and being visible for you and your merchants when customers are looking for your products, even earlier and later in the season, because even after Black Fridays, the interest for deals continues. So now, let's have a closer look at the learnings we got from 2022. The first thing is that we can clearly see that only online search played a critical role in 2022. And as the peak season expands, customers were looking for real deals and even post-peak. Also, the discovery and information gathering phase has never been more important. During 2022 holiday season, global search interest in best time to buy was highest during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and also the days after Christmas. But while consumers worked to find the best holiday deals, increased interest in search terms with modifiers like when or where showed their willingness to discover new information to help them make decisions during the season. What's more, search interest in shipping and buying policies also grew, as savvy shoppers searched for options that enabled them to change their minds about purchases if they found better products or sales later in the season. So now, let's have a look at the 4 themes that you will want to keep in mind for the holiday season to capture the demand and drive profitable growth this season. The first one is the consideration time. The second one, the holiday shopping timeline that is expanding. The third is the importance of highlighting your unique selling value. And finally, the omnichannel journey that is now flexible, more flexible than ever. And these are the 4 themes that you need to keep in mind to thrive this holiday season and capture the demand that's out there looking for your products. So first, consideration time. We strongly recommend that you consider the time as shoppers are spending more time in the consideration phase, which means that, for example, 30% of customers spend more time making decisions, considering more brands and also more stores and retailers than before. Customers are also more likely to consider new brands and new stores to take advantage of the best deals, especially the later ones. Then, as we mentioned, it is not only days, it's all the season, and the holiday shopping timeline continues to expand. So as of mid-October, holiday shoppers globally had on average 21% of their holiday shopping already complete. So keep this in mind. The third one is the value proposition. So while you and your merchants want to achieve profitable growth, it's also key to find a good value as customers are looking for the right price and the competition will intensify during peak. It is important that you enhance your brand presence and your appeal to customers. Indeed, it is more important than ever for you and your merchants to stand out. So please communicate your unique selling value, set yourself apart, promote your key differentiators and your unique selling value to make sure your product stands out and sparkle. And finally, and maybe most importantly, think beyond online as customers crave omnichannel flexibility. The overall purchase journey remains ambiguous, but omnichannel is still the most common approach for shopping. For example, 59% of customers like to visit stores to see or to touch product, even if they plan to buy online in the end. So remember, your customer crave flexibility, and it is very common for customers to leverage online search before making an in-store shopping decision. And the majority of them look to Google to explore, discover, compare, and then finalize their purchase. So depending on the service you are providing to your merchant, this is definitely an ongoing trend and a reminder that information seeking and conversions are happening across channels and not just online. So now let's have a look at the 4 key pillars that you can leverage to maximize your impact during peak using the latest AI-powered tools that are changing the game into an ongoing dynamic journey. First, define your true business goals. Align campaign strategy with business outcome that matters the most, flexible budgets and optimal targets to fully capture profitable demand. The second one, you can leverage the AI-ready campaign structures and the tools such as Performance Max or value-based bidding to increase efficiency and remain flexible during the peak season. These are really some key tools that can really help you reach a profitable growth. The third one is ensuring that you have high-quality data input. So make sure that your product data is optimal, provide as many creatives as possible, and again, differentiate yourself. And the first one, that is also a very important one, make sure your campaign is optimized and start assessing your campaigns now to see if budgets and targets need adjustment. And that's it. You are now all set up for success. So, now, here are some key dates for you to get ready for this peak season. First off, in October, we have Halloween on the 31st, as usual. Then in November, we have quite a few. So starting with Singles' Day, Diwali, we have Thanksgiving, and finally the Black Friday on the 24th this year, and Cyber Monday on the 27th. Then in December, we have Hanukkah, Christmas, and the Boxing Day, followed by January sales. So you can see a very detailed view of the seasonal peak calendar on the CSS Education Hub, along with a wealth of peak-related resources and some insights, which we update regularly. So I really encourage you to have a look. So we'll prepare for the key dates in 3 very important phases. So you can see that the first one has already started. It was from July to September. We really entered the readiness phase, as we can call it, and it is important that you start verifying your measurement, test automated strategies, prepare your creatives to make sure your products sparkle. Then we have the second phase. We are now in September, and until November, it is the time to take action. So make sure you're well optimized for return on investment. Make sure your budget is flexible enough to capture the demand and adjust your bids accordingly. The idea is really to find a sweet spot between maximizing the volume while maintaining profitability for you and your merchants. So you also want to check your feed health and apply all the learnings that you will get from today. And lastly, the last phase will come, and it is the evaluation phase that will start at the beginning of the peak season in November and December. So in this phase, remember to add any online and offline promos you may have, maybe swapping out creatives if you need, adjust your bids and budgets if needed, and run some burst campaign. So by following these 3 steps, I can ensure you that you will be ready for this peak season, no doubt about that. So after all the key takeaways and insights, I want to talk about some tips and tools that can help you and your merchant to make the most of this peak season. So let's start with the tips. So if you're working with your merchant campaigns budget, make sure that you evaluate the previous peak performance for this year allocation decisions. It is very important. You can utilize the impression share report in Google Ads as guidance. If you're looking into competitive positioning for your merchant, you can also check the Auction Insight report in Google Ads. Lastly, optimizing bids and budget is the key for improving your performance. So you can utilize optimization score reports, surfacing relevant recommendations for your merchant accounts. Now, how can you best scale your campaigns during peak? First, adapt your budgets. Make sure to avoid any budget capping, and we also recommend you to set a budget that is at least 3 times your spend. Evaluate. We recommend you to allow enough ramp-up time for your campaigns to run before assessing the performance. So wait at least 1 to 2 conversion cycles. Then follow the best practices. Make sure you add some high-quality creatives again, include audience signals, and enable URL expansion. This is critical for you to reach your target audience. Finally, in order to reach new customers, enable new customer acquisition bidding in your campaigns. These are a few tips for you to set up and scale your campaigns during peak. And remember that you can find some more detailed recommendations in the CSS Education Hub. Now, let's deep dive into the tools and resources. First and foremost, our CSS Education Hub. This is your go-to platform to get across a lot of resources, insights, and tips related to CSS and shopping ads. Lots of the information comes thanks to the recommendations from all of you about what you would like to see and what would be useful. So please keep them coming. We really encourage you to keep sharing your feedback as this is very valuable for us. So on that note, we uploaded plenty of resources for the peak preparation already, and you can find it under the Shopping for Peak 2023 folder. When you click on the folder, you will see that many resources from vertical trends to insights to core shopping ad narratives for peak, and even our latest tech breakfast training dedicated to peak has been added, so you can easily access them. With all of these resources, we want to set you up for success and make sure that you are better prepared than ever for this peak season. So you can download the resources and share it with your relevant teams. Another great tool is Budget Depletion Tool. This tool helps you to identify campaigns kept in budget and give you a live view of budget depletion across all campaigns in up to 50 accounts. The Budget Depletion Tool is accessible to all CSSs via the link on the CSS Education Hub. Then, the OptiScore Budget Recommendation. It is also another useful tool during the peak season, as it gives a relevant information about budget allocation and can be a useful guide to decide on campaign budgets. The tool helps you and your merchant to strategically reallocate your budget, make bidding changes to meet your goals, tactically review and raise investments if needed, and make seasonal budget adjustments. These recommendations are available on the Google Ads interface. Now, CSS Insights can be also a very useful tool, exclusive to CSSs. CSS Insight tool services Google Ads data and opportunities focusing on Google Ads and shopping optimization score based on merchant-centered data. By using this tool, you can have an overview of your accounts and view access to opportunities to your merchants. So you can access CSS Insights by visiting j.co/CSS Insights. You must be added as a user before you can access the tool. The last tool I want to talk about is CSS Center, and this is again exclusive to CSSs. You can have an overview of your merchant's account, performance data, and explore opportunities for your merchants. The tool can be very useful, especially during peak days, to identify potential issues in several merchant accounts and take action. And the last topic I want to cover today is pre-checks that you can do for your accounts and the support services that you can receive from us. So in order to make sure that you are ready for the peak season, here are some steps that you can take. First, make sure that you identify issues across your merchant accounts. you can take advantage of CSS Center and OptiScore to see the Merchant Center issues at scale. Then you can dive into specific merchant accounts and use the self-diagnostic tool to fix the issues. You can also use Merchant Center reports to prioritize high-impact issues. It is important to resolve the issues prior to key moments. If you need more clarification on the next steps about how to solve an issue, our dedicated support team is here to help. So you can always reach out to them through the CSS via Support for Comparison Shopping Services page. You are just one click away. Well, I hope this was a beneficial overview about the peak season. Thank you everybody for listening. We will continue to share more resources on the CSS Education Hub and the CSS newsletter. And we are now looking forward to a successful peak season together.
Hello, my name is Ulises and I'm a CSS Partner Manager within your CSS Partners team. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about Performance Max, what we believe is such a strong, powerful tool for retailers, share a few tips around your holiday strategy and how can you make it really work over the peak season, and give you a glimpse of the roadmap and show you some of the things that we have been working on. We cannot talk about Performance Max without really starting here. During the 2022 holiday season, 55% of shoppers use 5 or more channels like video and social media to shop over a 2-day period. The path to conversion has never been more complex, nuanced, or hard to navigate for advertisers. In this new digital economy, your expertise combined with the power of AI is the true difference maker to help you multiply your results today and grow for the future. With that vision is that we first introduced Performance Max campaigns, a way to target all of Google's inventory with one single campaign. Performance Max uses the full power of Google's AI to help you multiply conversions across your Google Ads inventory, finding untapped growth opportunities from new search queries and channels to drive better results towards your goals. Performance Max also optimizes your budget across channels in real time to help you get your business to peak budget agility and help you quickly adapt to fast-changing consumer trends. Now, Performance Max uses Google's AI to drive the results in 3 ways. The first one is that it multiplies your customer connections by finding new customers across all of Google's channels and inventory with a single campaign. It multiplies conversions and conversion value by optimizing for the highest return of investment conversion opportunities. Performance Max is a campaign that is aware of the budget and optimizes by the channel in real time to help you unlock those opportunities. And third, it multiplies your expertise by sharing insights to help you answer strategic questions about your own business. Performance Max has a very wide, unprecedented level of access to insights and tools that allows you to get feedback around specifically Google's AI is being used to deliver those goals. Now, we believe that Performance Max is truly a powerful tool for retailers. According to our internal testing, we see that advertisers that shift from standard shopping campaigns to Performance Max drove a 25% increase in conversion value on average at a similar ROAS. That's why we believe that the combination between your expertise and Google's AI in Performance Max, it's truly the winning formula in this holiday season. Of course, to unlock that 25% increase, you really need to lean into all of the variety of assets and tools and best practices that Performance Max has to offer. For that reason, in order to prepare and plan for the holiday season, we have a few recommendations that will help you unlock the performance. Now, what we recommend is that you adjust Performance Max campaigns prior to the peak holiday season to best reach those customers and capture their demand throughout their holiday purchasing journey. Today, we'll break down that advice into 4 sections: bids and budget, seasonality adjustments, holiday campaign segmentation, and creatives and asset optimization. So let's start with bids and budgets. The key recommendation is that you should adjust your Performance Max campaigns, budgets, and ROAS targets at least 4 to 6 weeks leading up to the peak holiday periods in order to capture those additional opportunities while still maintaining efficiency goals. Now, there's 2 key things to keep in mind. The first one is that smart bidding learns at the query level to set auction time bids that help you navigate frequent or sudden changes on demand, including those that occur during seasonal or unpredictable periods. However, if you expect a large change in conversion rates over a short period of time, you can prepare by adjusting your ROAS targets manually or using seasonality adjustments. Seasonality adjustments are conversion rate based guidance that you can provide Smart Bidding and you can provide PMax so that it better understands the influence that events might be having around, for example, a quarterly mega sale or a Black Friday weekend. However, we recommend that you use seasonal adjustments only for short, infrequent events when you expect a temporary, let's say smaller than 7 days, but significant change, like more than 30% in conversion rates. If we were to take a step further into the campaign, one of the questions that we receive most often is how to structure your campaign for peak, your Performance Max campaign for peak. So if you want to prioritize certain types of products during the holiday season, our recommendation is to create a separate Performance Max campaign for those items so that you're able to set a lower ROAS target that can help you maximize visibility for those products in the weeks leading up to the peak period where many people are still browsing. One of the strong recommendations that we do is that if you do create a new campaign for your holiday products, make sure that you launch it at least 2 weeks ahead of the peak moment to give it enough time to collect data and to ramp up. Depending on the complexity of an advertising setup, you might be looking at a setup like this one, an example like this one. You might have 3 campaigns, one for holiday merchandise, one for high margin categories, and one for everything else, your catch-all campaign. And for more complex advertisers, you might have other optional campaigns such as new customer acquisition, retention, or store goals. There's 2 recommendations to keep in mind. First, avoid over-segmenting campaigns as this could lead to reduced performance. Only do so if your business goals require it. And second, keep in mind that Performance Max campaigns trumps shopping campaigns if they target overlapping offers. Once you have structured campaigns, the next frontier to review is how your creative strategy is going to look like. Our main recommendation is to create a separate asset group for a special event or sale with the products that you would like to sell during the holiday season. That would allow you to upload creatives for holiday products in a separate asset group and avoid disrupting your evergreen products. Remember that the more creative assets that you provide, the more improvement you will see on your performance. And taking that to the next step, when we talk about how to optimize assets, the 2 key recommendations that we have for you is to highlight seasonal messaging and offerings within your headlines and descriptions, and prioritize visual assets by using authentic, high-quality images that inspire people to engage with your brand. Now, when it comes to refreshing those creatives, make sure that you use a phased approach when replacing assets to avoid any campaign volatility. Upload new assets before deleting assets with a low rating. When you are updating your assets, make sure that you create and upload them at least 2 weeks ahead of the holidays. And continuously check the ad strength and asset group reporting for insights of which creatives will need optimization. Now, this is just a glimpse of the things that you can do with existing features within Performance Max. Before we finish the day today, I wanted to show with you a little bit about a retrospective of the features that we have launched for Performance Max over the last year and what are some of the things that we'll be working on during the remainder of the year. During the first 2 quarters of the year, we have been answering to calls from the community and by launching features such as account level negatives, Performance Max versus standard shopping experiments, and brand exclusions. And as the year progresses, you can expect us to continue to work on features for Performance Max, such as geo-based experiments to prove conversion lift, and life cycle goals such as re-engagement, and more detailed reporting such as retail diagnostic insights and category trends. Now, I hope that you found the tips today useful, and remember that your next highest return on investment conversion could come from a channel that you hadn't previously considered. This week, put your goals and your customers before channels to find more valuable conversions, no matter where they may be coming from. Now, if you want to learn more about Performance Max, you can find some resources on the CSS Education Hub, such as the roadmap that we just saw, some Performance Max holiday strategies, new betas and implementations resources, and much more. I hope that you found this information useful. Thank you very much for your time today.
Hello again. I hope you found that useful. In a few minutes, we share a feedback form. Please use it to let us know what you have found most interesting and relevant, so we can prepare even better content for you at our next event. But for now, it's the moment that many of you have been waiting for, the CSS Spotlight Awards. Before I jump in, let's take a moment to hear from the winners of last year's awards.
So winning the Google CSS Spotlight Award for us was amazing for morale building within the team. Everybody was absolutely thrilled. It helps us to build our brand as a business. It helps us to reach new business as well. It also really helps to build confidence between our business and other retailers. And it just helps us to build more ties and strength with our existing Google CSS partner team, who've been great.
To be honest, for us, it's more than just an award, because it's also an affirmation to merchants around Europe that when they work with Big Shopper, they're partnering with a data-driven powerhouse dedicated to their success.
Winning the award for our business makes us even more motivated to keep evolving, keep pushing and keep growing. And it keeps our team even more motivated to keep pushing ourselves to get better every day. It gives us the recognition for all the hard work, and it really means a lot for our team.
Winning such a great Google award is especially important for small companies like AdStrong, because it really helps us to showcase our expertise, get visibility, and increase the trust that we have in the market.
I remember the team being together when we saw the Spotlight Awards, and everybody was really celebrating the fact that we won all the different awards. It's very important to us because it's good for our reputation, and it also gives us the motivation to keep on doing the fine work we are doing.
Winning the award means that we're going in the right direction as a business, and it really helps us have successful conversations with new advertisers wanting to onboard us as a CSS.
Congratulations again to our 2022 winners. It's really rewarding to hear how the awards had such an impact on their businesses over the last year. And now for this year. As before, we have 3 awards categories. The first category is Merchant Success. This is where we recognize the impact that your service has for your retail clients. When reviewing your submissions, we looked for metrics like increased sales volumes or conversion rates, and for feedback from your clients. The second category is Product Expertise. Here, we looked for innovation. We were really curious to see how you use technology solutions to address complex or difficult situations. Those solutions may have been related to Google products or developed by yourselves. The third category is Business Growth. This category really is all about you and your CSS. We wanted to see what you've achieved this year, like getting new clients, opening new offices, or launching new services. Before we share the results, I want to tell you about the judging process. When I say that we reviewed your submissions, I don't mean me and my team. This year, we recruited an external judging panel, made up of digital media and commerce experts from Accenture Song, Accenture's digital creative agency. Our judges, Lydia, Chris, and Victoria, brought deep expertise and professional rigor to the process. They carried out their work with integrity and independence, and I would like to thank them for their effort. It was impressive to see. The judges selected 3 winners in each category, and the competition was fierce. If your entry was not selected, please know that your work was appreciated and recognized. Many CSSs who entered will also be recognized as finalists. All finalists will receive a badge for your website and marketing collateral, so you can share that official recognition with your clients and with the industry. And every premium partner who submitted an entry will receive a summary of Accenture's feedback from their Google Partner Manager. Winners, of course, will also receive a badge and amazing trophy that we've had uniquely designed for these awards. Finally, onto the winners. In the Merchant Success category, the winners are Shopper for increasing ROAS for Kmart.pl, a seller of power tools and equipment, by more than 50 times, with revenue up 54% in 2 months. Product Hero for driving a 30% increase in conversion value for hobby shop online. Such a strong result that the client pauses campaigns on weekends to avoid running out of stock. And Google Shopping for an end-to-end overhaul of campaign strategy and feed optimization that led to growth of 41% in revenue and 32% in conversion for sports brand Le Pape. In the product expertise category, the winners are Google Shopping for using vertical insights and a range of analytics tools to create a forecast model and to generate highly targeted recommendations for budget increases. Shoptimized for using proprietary software and Google's APIs to extract and optimize feed data, driving sales of products that previously had no clicks or conversions. And Precise Digital for using BigQuery, Looker Studio, and in-house tech to launch a differentiated service offering adopted by more than 100 clients. In the business growth category, the winners are AdStrong for growing their client base by 4,000 merchants, serving 125 million additional impressions and 2 million additional clicks per quarter. Productcaster for investing in premium service offering, delivered via more than 3,000 hours of support, which helped to close 100% of new business leads in 2023. And Product Hero for onboarding 100 agencies to a partner program in 2023 and expanding to serve merchants in 21 countries. Massive congratulations to all of the winners. We'll be in touch soon with your trophies. And congratulations to all of you who entered. Your work was incredibly strong. You didn't make it easy for the judges. We'll be in touch very soon to inform finalists of the status too and to share your digital badges. That brings today's event to a close. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Please take a moment to complete our feedback form. You can scan the QR code here on screen with your phone to jump to the link. We'll send it out by email as well. We really do pay attention to your comments. We read every single of them. So they will really help us improve these events in the future. Thanks again for joining us today. From all of us in Perfex and at Google, best wishes for a successful peak season ahead. See you next time.